it's Brian here from quantlabs.net. Just to bring everybody back up to speed is the queuing versus database, and if it's a typical RDM relationship database management system, whatever, RDBMS or whatever, versus nosql for high performance trading platforms. So I've done both, and actually all three, actually trying to implement some kind of solution into this trading platform. Now, for those that are fairly new at this, there's the core engines of trading. There's your news feed. In my case, I'm using IQ feed, and I feed it through a socket. From there, on the other end of that socket is another process, which in my case is a model that's generated from Simulate, which is part of MATLAB. And from there, there's other code to manage that model and the interaction and the responses from the model. So what's happening is that I typically have now a model being able to spit out maybe trading decisions by sending out orders. The problem is managing the open positions when those orders come in. Now you can have a variety of things. Because I'm using interactive brokers, which is TWS Trader Workstation, which is part of that for executing trades, you need one application or basically an application that basically has a one-to-one relationship with the TWS for all trades through the system, all positions through the system. So you can have 5 models, you could have 500 models or trading strategies running in parallel, but they all have to be piped through this one application. The hard part about the whole process, we always think about trading strategies, that's the easiest part, or all the algorithms, that's hard, blah 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 blah. This is nothing compared to this type of application that manages your positions, because you have positions being open, positions being closed, and positions being changed from, let's say, to some kind of stop loss or something. So essentially, that is where the complexity is, and it becomes a bottleneck. So you can do it a variety of ways. You can do it through nosql, manage those open positions, and don't forget you have to have a multi-threaded, very powerful, very multi-threaded type of environment to handle all these positions that are open and to manage the communication between the TWS and the trading models. Confused yet? That's the hard part of any trading platform. It's called reconciliation. This is verbiage from the London Quant, who's obviously helped and guide me through this process, which is very difficult. So there's a number of options you can go. You can do queuing. Queuing is fine, but then you got to add in your heartbeat, your resiliency, and all that in case one of those connections drops or a process hangs. And how do you bring it back up to reinstate reinstate all those open positions so it can carry on with the job? A very difficult job. Queuing also can work. It's very fast, but again, managing the open positions to make sure that the connection stays open. And then you also got to throw in the concurrency on top of that. Now also, everyone's going to go, oh, you could do nosql, man. Like, nosql is fine, but you're still running into the same problem of resiliency, and you could serialize this to, blah, 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 blah. It's just there's a lot of housekeeping you got to maintain in your own code. And it gets to a point where it's like, why, Okay, so I'm still leaning towards this, but I always come back, with everything I've done over the last few years, I always come back to something, and it's that something that I go back to that I actually implement with. Why? Because it's always the easiest and the best way to maintain it. So in this case, for this whole problem, it's like I've looked at all the different complex event processing, this is what it's all about. The best one I've seen throughout all this is the SQL Server Stream Insights. Now, everything's done in a database, and it's still built on top of that database is the complex event processing, which the Stream Insights, which is part of SQL Server. So you can have all your data residing within a database, and then right there you have your resiliency as well as your redundancy. And it's supposed to be fast. That's the key. It has to be fast enough to be able to handle all the processing through the database for all the requests and whatnot. And the question is it fast? Now, I've done my further research on SQL Server through the YouTube channel from Microsoft for, there are a variety of presentations, especially when it comes to the Stream Insight product. The surprising thing is one of the larger alternative exchanges out there called DirectEdge is using SQL Server. They're piping through a lot of data and a lot of throughput through this thing. Something like 60 terabytes, 600 meg. It's a huge volume of data built on SQL Server. So, and this is an exchange where it's more important than a high frequency trading operation. So my way of thinking is, look, if DirectEdge, which has to be the fastest out there among all the other major exchanges, is using SQL Server somewhere along the line, however it's designed and implemented, can be used for the equivalent of a high-speed trading system. It has to be. Another good example of that using MySQL is Yahoo Finance. Now, when you think about it, I've worked with Yahoo Finance years ago, and there's over 35,000 instruments that are tracked through the Yahoo Finance service. That's huge. But it's all built around and on top of MySQL. Now, it's got to be fast enough, obviously, to be able to handle all the volume of queries and blah, blah, blah. So again, that tells me that there's a relationship database management system can do this job. Now, when it comes to NoSQL, I'm not here to judge on NoSQL, but as I said, a lot of it's very primitive, okay? And you have to write your own code or use some other piece of code that can do all the housekeeping for you that doesn't come with a traditional relationship database management system. So that's the thing that our relationship database management system gives you over all this other stuff. Now, I'm losing my mind on trying to figure out which way to go. But in my case, I'm going to take the same approaches I've taken with MATLAB. I want to work with something that's got good training, good community, good documentation, and that's widely used. Now, I could use Oracle, but I hate Oracle let's just not go there. But SQL Server has always come about very simple to use, but it's got a lot of powerful stuff to it. So I'm starting to think SQL Server is the option for me with the Stream Insights. Now, the challenge though is I put up a few videos on this, is trying to connect my MATLAB into SQL Server. It's always a bitch. It's like, seriously, I could do it no problem with MySQL, but when it comes to SQL Server, it's a real bitch. So I know there's other ways to do it, but I'm going to still proceed with a SQL Server because that's becoming more important to me now over MATLAB to get this platform done. I could go on about MATLAB versus the platform and an API equivalent for the platform, but for now, I need to get this position management, order, blah, blah, blah stuff done. I just want to put that video out there to stress the importance of this. That strategies and algorithms are important, yes, but when it comes to the trading decisions and orders and flow and the order flow, your position management is more important, and it's even more mind-boggling of all the many years I've worked on it. I just thought I'd put that out for you, so have fun with it.